Starting off with analytical geometry for grade 12. Now, what is analytical geometry in generally? What was it? Grade 10 was lacquer. What did you do in analytical geometry? Distance. Midpoint. Gradient, which actually just comes together with straight line equations. Are you with me? Yes. And in the straight line equations, there was lots and lots of stuff. If lines are parallel, the gradients are the same. If lines are perpendicular, you know the formula m1 times m2 must be equal to -1. Then also with gradient came in inclination, which is gradient is equal to tan theta. That's when you want to get degrees. Now we will touch on a little bit of a combination once we finished on the circle formula. But the circle is the last bit. That's the only thing that you get added in grade 12, which is the circle. Now the formula for the circle is x minus a, x minus b, both of them in squares equal to r squared. Of which I must now teach you that the center of the circle will be a b, meaning something. So whatever's there, I'll change the sign. And whatever's there, I'll also change the sign, making it plus a and plus b. And what do you guess r squared stands for?
Radius.
The radius. So the radius is r. So whatever's going to be there has to be r squared. It's like all the time that you actually in one stage, they had the circle in book 1, together with straight line, hyperbola, parabola, because it's still graphs, right? But the thing comes in with functions. Let's see if you're still sharp on functions. They wanted to put it with the functions, but a circle is not a function. Why is a circle not a function?
Because for every
X does not just have one y. Maybe if we have a tangent here, it'll only for one x have one y. But all of the others will have for every x 2 y's. That's why a circle, according to definition, is not a function. Unless I restrict it. Saying let's cut off the bottom half. Then that top half would be a function, or just the bottom half would be a function. So that's a long story on why they took it out and why they put it back and whatever. But now it's in paper too, because it doesn't fall under the functions. So that's the formula for getting a circle. Now let's jump right into it, and I'm going to say let's get an equation for this sketch. Now the sketch has 0 and 25 as one of those points. Now that point, and I hate to tell you that this was a circle with center 0, 0. Are you with me? So if the circle had center 0, 0, I'm actually giving way too much other information here. I just want the circle's formula. What do I need for the circle? Just the center, which is 0. Okay, so can I just write x minus 0, y minus 0. So whatever it is, it's going to change signs. If it's not 0, 0, it's going to be something else, changing signs. But the r, yes, the radius is 25. So what's going to be here? Okay. Now in general, we don't leave it like that. We'll write this answer better and say it's x squared plus y squared equal to, if I'm right, 620. And then I'm done. Normally with equations, what we do is we try and write it in the form y equals. That's with functions, we do that. Y equals mx plus c. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, etc. But for a circle, this is quite acceptable. Can we write it as y equal to? Absolutely, if you want y alone. It'll be 625 minus x squared, and then to get the y alone, square rooted, but don't forget if you square rooted to right, plus minus. And that's why, if it is y equal to plus minus square root of 625 minus x squared, you're busy with the circle. Now, the plus minus part there comes in. If it was only plus, you only had the top half. If it was only minus, you only have the bottom half, and then it would be classified under functions. Are you with me?
Yes.
So what was the other story there? Well, I could ask you for that straight line equation old work. Not going to look at that just now. To find the equation of a circle, you just need to find the center and you need to find the radius. So let's take any circle that you like. If you want to give me a center, please.
6 and
2, 6 and 2, I hear a 2, I hear a 6, 6 and 2, and what else?
7 and 12.
Any other point?
7 and 12.
Okay, so 7 and 12 should be somewhere over there. Are you with me now? Probably. Our sum's not going to look so lacquer because we were just, okay? So it shouldn't look too hot, but okay. How would I get the equation? The center, that's the center of the sum. So we're going to have x, and please write down the formula for yourself. It just helps you to focus. Oopsie, I was going to write 25 again. Okay? Equal to r squared. If we substitute the center now, so tell me quickly before we go on, like in all of our equations, how many variables?
2.
Not the x and the y. Remember, x and y were never variables. X and y were part of the formula. Are you with me?
Yes,
So I've got to go and substitute a and b with the center. Sometimes I'm not going to give it to you. You're going to have to find it yourself. Okay? The center and the radius. Sometimes given, sometimes you've got to go find it. Do I have the radius? No. Can I find it?
Yes.
How?
7
Yes, substitute a point, that's fine. Or how else? Distance formula between the center and any place on the circumference is the length of the radius. So we've always got alternative techniques. Alright, so first of all it's going to be x minus 6 and y minus 2. So whatever that sign is, it's going to change. That's why the formula has a negative there. And guys, like you know from other sums as well, if they want to write it with a plus there, are they wrong? If they want to write it with a plus there, are they wrong?
No.
Remember in, what is this? This is a parabola in the turning point format. If I write it like that, am I wrong? No. You must just know that that must always be altered from whatever the turning point's x value was, and that must not be. They could even put a minus there if they feel like it. You must know how it's applied. Are you happy on that? Yes. So the same thing here. If they really wanted to go put it in, they could have made it a plus if they wanted to give it to you. So I'm just short of the, so 2 ways. Get the distance formula, get the actual radius, fill it in. Done. Perfect. You guys know that if you have how many variables?
3.
How many variables here?
1.
Only one. Then we can do it by substituting what? A point on that graph. So can I substitute 6 and 2?
No.
It's not on the graph. It's the center, but it's not on the graph. You've got to substitute 7 and 12, and now let's see what a mess our sum is going to be, but it's okay. So it's going to be in the place of x,
7.
and in the place of y, and we're working out our r squared. Can somebody help me quickly calculate on the calculator what that answer is? With 101. Alright, now, what is the radius then? Square root of that, which will be 10 comma a little bit. Do I need the radius though? I need r squared, and I've got r squared. So you don't have to go tell me therefore the radius will be 10 comma whatever. It's fine if you do, but you don't have to. I just wanted you to give me the equation of the circle, and the equation of the circle is x minus 6 plus y minus 2 squared equal to
1.
Please remember that this must be the radius squared, not just the radius. Now they can ask you to in different ways. They can ask you to leave it in that form. If they don't say anything, remember just like with parabolas, If you leave it in the turning point form, is it fine? Yes, but if you leave it in the x-intercept form, those two formulas that you had, you're never allowed to do that. Now with a circle, you're allowed to leave it in this format. Unless they say, please write it to me in the form and then there's so many variations. Because in general, this will always be a 1. But technically they say it doesn't have to be because you can simplify. So in general, it's always ax squared plus bx plus cy squared. Now I'm just throwing this around because you can get it in any direction, in any way that they want to give it to you. And then we're going to have, oopsie, that was supposed to be a y, c and then dy, and then even plus e equal to 0. So I'm teaching you now that the method, if you want to time this all out, it's going to be x squared something. There's going to be a x, because this will be a trinomial. There's going to be a number. This will be a y squared. This will be multiplied with each other. You're going to have something y. That will be a number. And here's also a number. So does it make sense that it can come to that? So now if they ask me to do it this way, this is the way I present it to them. But if they wanted me to write equal to e, it doesn't have to be minus e, it just means write the number on the right hand side. And then all you have to do to get that right, and let's do it quickly, you're going to have x squared minus 12x plus 36. Please guys, when you have to do a binomial square, write it out twice so that you don't make mistakes. And then plus y squared minus 4y plus 4 equal to 101. I'm almost there. Do what they wanted me to do. They first wanted the x squared, then they wanted the y squared, then they wanted the x. They do what they ask. So for that to happen, it's going to be x squared plus y squared minus 12x minus 4y, and they wanted everything else together on the left hand side. So this will be 40 minus the 101 is minus 61 equal to 0. And that would be one extra mark from where you got the equation of the circle and then when you got to it expanded. Just answer the question. If they never said anything and they just said find the circle, you stop there. Unless they wanted it in a specific order. Happy there? Right. Then the next piece I need to tell you is about taking this into the form of x minus a, y minus b, r squared. Because if I'm asking you, listen, here is the equation of the circle. Would you now have known that this is a circle? If this was the case, you would have thought parabola, right? Yes. But now there's an x squared and a y squared. That should indicate to you that it's now a circle. How will I get it here? Are you all with me that you're thinking we should get here? Because once I got it in this form, it's easy to read off what is the midpoint or the center of the circle and what is the radius. So good news, no bad news for most kids. How will I get it there? The method is completing the square. So, do they love asking it? For sure it will be. For sure. So in general, they don't really ask it in other places. Because I remember when in paper 2, normally they ask completing the square with solving equations in paper 1. So can it still be there? But will it definitely be here by the circle, which is in trig, which is in paper 2? Yes. Yep. You can bet on it. Somewhere in the analytical with the circles, they're going to ask you for completing the square. You have to now know from today that I need to do completing of the square. Let's remember how completing the square works. When you did completing the square, you had something like, say for instance, x squared minus 2x minus 3 equal to 0. And we were solving an equation. Then we did it with completing the square, and then we said to you, but please don't be crazy. If you have a choice, you use the formula and your fantastic calculators to get your answers. But if I said you must do it with completing of the square, what's the technique? First thing, that must be a 1. Excellent for your memory. that must be a 1, and if it's not, you must make it a 1 by taking out a common 1, or if it's an equation, by dividing. Good news, usually with these sums, it's a 1, and the y square is also a 1. If it's not, you must apply. Every sum is different. So if it was, for instance, a 2, you had to go to divide the whole thing by to make it a 1. Okay, so if it's a 1, just in general, we've got to go and get another number here to complete the square. Now guys, I do realize lots of you are going for extra lessons, but there's various ways of doing this. This is my technique. Obviously I promote it because I think it's the best. The technique is, you take the coefficient of x, if this is a 1, then you take the coefficient of x and what do you do with it? Times with a half and square the answer. That's not the only technique. And I don't care what technique you use, as long as we've got the bracket square correct, then I don't care what technique you use. I can mark it. Don't worry about that. So you can mark it. So if you got minus 2 times a half, you get negative 1, and if you square it, that gives you plus. So all of a sudden, we have something new in the equation. You can't just do that. That's illegal. You have to make it legal by doing what? But please don't add that up again and you're back to square 1. This is where you have completed, made a new square. And this square is, the general purpose was, or the general technique was, square root is x. Use this one's sign, negative. Use this one square root, 1. Are you with me? And the rest was negative 4 equal to 0. Now if you were in this sum, you could have done and said, okay ma'am, if it was a parabola, I could have seen the turning point. If it was an equation, could I solve for x? Take the 4 across, get the square root, and then you plus with the 1. This is not what I'm trying to get at. I want to teach you the technique again, so let's go back to our sum. If we need completing the square, we're going to have to do it twice. We're going to have to get our x square. Now normally we do the x in the front. They've mixed it up completely. So let's get some order here. X squared first, then the minus 4x. Then obviously I'm shorting something here. That's completing the square. The same with the y. Y squared minus 2y, and I'm shorting something. And then equal to 11. And if the 11 had been on the left-hand side, I would have taken it to the other side because I'm chucking everything else that doesn't belong to the right-hand side. Are you with me? Technique. If you've got this, you will always have it. It's always going to look like this. So now to get back to our technique. Is this a 1? Yes, fantastic. So we take the negative 4 and we time it with a half and we square it. Giving me? Plus 4. Would it ever be a negative?
No.
Always a plus. Why? Because you're squaring it. Whatever it was, squared is going to be a plus. Okay, is that legal? No. What did they now do? In this one, I put plus and minus because it was available there for me. This one, if I wanted to put minus here as well, but I'm trying to get the numbers to the one side. This one is going to be negative 2 again times a half and square it. It's going to give me plus 1. Take your calculator if you're unsure. Please make it legal, so plus another 1. Happy on that? Right, and now we complete the square. So these 3 numbers will complete the square for x, because we're saying square root, sine is negative, square root is 2. Happy on that? Next one, those 3 together will complete my square again. You see the recipe working here. So it's going to be square root, square root is at y, sine is negative, and then 1, the square root of 1. And on the other side, I have 16, which is a nice square number. Does it have to be a square number? In our previous sum, we had the root, the radius as root 101. That wasn't so nice. No, it's perfect. It's just not a perfect square. This one is a perfect square. My question was, please tell me what is the radius, and please tell me what is the center of this circle. And then we will be done. So the radius for the circle is 4. Please don't forget, it's not 16. This represents r squared. So r squared is 16, that's why the radius is 4. Shouldn't we be writing plus or minus? No. Why not?
Radius is less than plus.
A radius cannot be less than nothing. Where's the circle? Radius cannot be less than nothing. Otherwise, where's the circle? Are you with me? Mathematically, when we do square root of 16, we should be writing plus 4 and minus 4. But a radius has to be positive. Can't be a negative. Then the circle's imploding or something. And then the center, please,
2 and 1.
is 2 and 1. Because the signs have to change. It's a pity that they weren't one a plus and one a minus. This has to be negative or whatever's there. And that's done. How many marks? It's about 4 marks. Generally, June, prelim, final exam, that'll be a question for about 4 marks. Okay. Find the radius, find the center. Part B of the sum. Let's go on with it. Take this one that you've got. They've given you the equation and they said to you, please now get me the new circle if this circle has been transformed by moving it left and right and up and down. Guys, it's easy. It's supposed to be easy. So if I say if this circle, and I'd have to, if the circle in the previous sum has been moved, let's go 2 to the right and 4 down. Please get me the new equation. So has the radius changed?
No.
Taking your circle and you're moving it right and down. So the radius hasn't changed. Could the radius change? If I said to you the radius doubles,
Oh, thank you.
then you just double the radius. But is this not going to be 32 then?
No.
Careful, careful. Because the radius was 4. And if you double 4, you get
8.
Okay, and then this should have been 64. But that's not the question. Let's not go up outside ourselves. Let's just answer the question. So if you need to find the new equation, you already know that this was the center. The best way of doing the sum is to do exactly what we've done here. What was the center? 2 and 1. To look at the center, to actually do it, because you know boys and girls. Ne? These boys are also not like that. So because of the negative there, if I say negative 2, it's actually negative is to the right, and positive, oh no, it's confusing. So I'm saying if you have to do that, look at the original one, know what the center was, and now what is the new center going to be? Now it's not girls go haywire and go to the opposite direction. If you have to go 2 to the right, where are you? At 4. That's 2 to the right. You're at a point, you're moving it 2 to the right. Nothing about boys and girls. The new center will then be 4. And 4 down? So what's the circle? Remember, the circle used to be this one. But now you're not going to use the negative 2 and the 1 anymore because you've established that that must now be negative 4. Always change the sign. And this, not boys say the same and girls change. Look at what actually happened with the center. What is it now? To take it back there. And then what must be on the other side? Because we never did anything. The radius is still
The same.
4. So there must still be a 16. Nothing changed on that. How many marks would this have been? Because you're just moving a point to another place and putting it back into the circle. Are you getting there? It's all new, but it's not so hard. Okay, little technical things that are going to happen. Because I remember how you did the analytical geometry in grade 11. It's all a sketch and then find lots and lots and lots of stuff. Equation of that one, the equation of this one, where do they intersect, where's the inclination, get all the angles. This is going to happen here as well. But then we're going to have one question all the grade 11 work, and then there will be one with grade 12 circles. But inside of them, can there still be something with inclination, getting the equation of straight line, since the radius is a line, the diameter would be a line, etc. Are you with me?
Yes.
Be careful, it's a circle. So grade 11 you were taught a lot of things about circles in geometry. So it's going to happen, not today, it's going to happen that we're going to say, listen, I want you to go work out the tangent. Radius, tangent somewhere, maybe there. Let me the equation of the tangent. Then you should know that the tangent and the radius are perpendicular. That's going to be the essence of those sums here. But it comes from geometry, in analytical geometry. Are you with me?
Yes,
Okay, but a nice easy thing to stop this lesson with is if I said to you, please go find the equation of this terrible circle. It's very disformed, okay? Find me the equation of the circle. What's my problem? Oopsie, I never put that one in there. Sorry, there's nothing to ask there. Find me the equation of this circle. First of all, everybody would have where do you get it? On your formula sheet. And hopefully after today you've got it in your brain already. Okay? And immediately you can substitute what? Plus 3 minus 2. That's it. Always changes. Always changes from there to there. That's what the general formula says, although I can manipulate. But then I'm looking for the R. How will I get the radius? The answer lies in what I just said. Yes. Because what is this circle doing?
Touching.
Not very nicely, but it's touching the y-axis. And then on the point of touch, what happens? That should be the radius and the tangent, which the tangent is now the y-axis, right? So, what is the radius, please? 3, fantastic. 3. Because that is a perpendicular length. How far is it then from there to there? 3 units. You're not calculating it, you're seeing it. So from there to there, and from there to there is 2, but that helps me nothing. The radius is from the center to the point of touch, which is there, the x value there is 0. What is that point's coordinates if you want? 0 and still 2, because it's got to be perpendicular, but that doesn't help me. I need to see that the radius is, if you've seen it, you can put it here and say that that is just not 3. Okay, and also not 6, 3 squared 6, that you see a lot. Done. How many marks? 1. I think 2. Same question. Help it that you can get it quickly. Get me the equation here. X minus 3 y plus 2. Are you getting that mark all the time now? And then R. Oh my word, but the sum is so skewed. I would have put it by hand in the exam as well and said, ma'am, something's not like here. How can that be negative 2? Look at it. So let's group it right quickly, please. Are you with me? It can't be negative. Look at where it is. Oh. You can say x is positive and y is positive. The sketch was horrible, so you can't just fix stuff in the exam, okay? But what is the radius? 7. Are you seeing it? Because of the radius being perpendicular to the x-axis now in this case, that means that this length here, okay, so that would be, oh, horribly skewed, but that would be 3 units and 0. And then the length there should be the radius is equal to 7. What must be over here?
49.
Ah, excellent. So now your square numbers. Then you're going to do for me for next week, Monday. You've got lots of time to do it and come ask questions, right? In the meantime, because there are some funky things here. You're still brand new to the circle scene, so please try your best.